I'll keep this little section short and sweet too, but previously I have had a mobile hair and makeup business. I've rented a chair. I've had 2 hair and beauty salons. I've also had a hair salon only and a barbershop. And I've been in the hairdressing industry since 2003, which is 22 years now, which is kind of alarming and sad and great all at the same time. And in my salons, I've had a mix of employees and also rent chairs as well. So I've kind of been on both ends of the spectrum there. I've been a coach and a mentor to the hair and beauty industry for now 8 years, and we service the whole service industry, but always predominantly hair and beauty. In Iconic Coaching, which is my coaching business, we coach 61 clients at the moment, which is a mix of indies, you guys, and also salon owners. So 4 of my staff are mums. They all work remotely from their homes in Gold Coast, Brisbane, Geelong, Country Victoria, and then I'm based in the Sunshine Coast, but obviously always travelling and always doing things as well. And Sim is here filming me. She's flown in from Melbourne this morning, which is why I'm a few minutes late. I'm sorry. The wild weather has made the flights all delayed and all yuck this morning. So I'm also a wife. I am a dog mum. You can see my babies here. And I'm an auntie times 4. And aside from that, I'm a workaholic, and that's pretty much my life and what I do. So today, these are the topics that Salon Lane have asked me to talk about. So they are: craft a standout client experience that keeps people coming back, price your services with confidence and clarity, streamline your operations with smart, repeatable systems, develop a growth mindset to overcome mental roadblocks, understand where your money goes and how to spend smarter, and shift your mindset to improve communication and performance. So I've made them a little bit more iconic, and I've changed the titles a little bit and kind of blended them together, but that's kind of the basis for today. So last little section, then I'll put my iPad down and get into it. But I talk really quick, write quick. I do have a bit of colourful language usually as well. I'm a very passionate person, so don't mind if I swear. I'm also not here to give you fluffy bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and sell you on all the things that we do. And I really want to give you value and hopefully provide you some actual strategies that you can take away today, not just kind of talk at you. So with questions, I'm quite comfortable, if I can't see the chat unfortunately on Zoom, but I'm quite comfortable waiting to the end of every section, and then I can check the chat and we can just cross-check for questions. And yeah, is there any questions from you guys before I start? No? Perfect. Do you want to just quickly see if you can actually log into the Zoom, so if there is questions, like if you can connect your laptop to it, so that if there is questions at the end of every section, then I can actually ask them, because I want to give the people on Zoom kind of missed out last time, and I don't want to do that to them again. I'm not sure how to connect, just maybe go and ask her. Okay, so my first section is the key failures of a client experience. It's actually really handy because I can kind of see my slides in the mirror there. So I feel that this is a huge problem, and this is where a lot of people actually go wrong, is just skipping over sections of the client experience, or they give their new client 150% and then the client comes back, it's 100%, comes back again 80%, 70%, so on and so forth. So the first thing I want to note is that the experience really does start well before the actual appointment itself. Things like, if it's really hard to book with you, it's probably really off-putting. Like if you don't have an easy online booking, I know you all work a little bit differently, and Salon Lane sometimes takes bookings for you guys as well, but if it's hard to book, if they can't contact you, if there's no way of I hate people when they're like, no DMs, it's like, just take the DM, stop making it difficult for your clients to book with you. The other thing to note is just really poor communication. My rule of thumb with this, and it's always been really successful for my businesses and also my clients' businesses, is talk to them like they're your friends, talk to them like you love them and you value them and you care about them. Being too blunt or too cold or too delayed in responding can be really off-putting for some clients. A lot of people, and especially they're not coming to us because they look good. They're coming to us because they've got a problem. It's teeth whitening, or it's hair that's wrong, or they got regrowth, or they feel like crap. And so it can be really hard to reach out sometimes and be like, these are my problems, or this is what I need from you. So we want to make our communication as warm and as kind as possible. Oh yeah, eat away. You guys have got the whole array of snacks to yourself. Beautiful. And another one I think is often an oversight is just really our website and our online presence. I know a lot of you probably don't have websites, but I think you should. I think it's an online business card. I know for myself, I look further than just social media. I like to really know a little bit about the person. I like to build that rapport with people before I go and support their business. And I think that if you've got a really good positive online presence and, a website that reads well and online, like social media and everything that reads well, I think it's actually really powerful. Something to probably note there, and this just kind of came into my head, is on your social media, please have what you do and where you're from. There's nothing funnier than when you're going on, you're like, where, is this a restaurant? Is this a bar? Where is it? What state is it in? I don't even know. So just make it really clear what you do and where you are, and especially in a co-working space like this. I think it's really important. And again, the last point here is just really about your energy and your report. Stop using AI for everything. Speak from the heart. I'm okay if you use AI a little bit to clean things up, but show your personality, let your freak flag fly, be who you are, and I think you'll then start to attract the people that you want to attract to. Sorry guys, I'm dying. I had the flu 2 weeks ago and my voice is holding on by a thread for you guys today. So yeah, I just think it's all about what you put out and what people see. The next kind of first impression or part of the client experience, I guess, is the actual appointment itself. Captain Obvious there. And I think, some of these might be pretty obvious to some of you, but some of them might not as well. First thing is lack of confirmations and booking policies. I know some people get a bit pazzed out when they're like, wait, do I have my appointment? Or they contact you and they're like, am I booked in? You're like, yeah, you booked in, it's all good. Make sure that this is something that is, really automated and easy. And I think with that also having your booking policies everywhere, I'm going to talk a little bit more about booking and cancellation policies later and some of those systems around that, but make sure that you do actually have, this is easy. They can confirm easily, they can change their appointments easy, they can see your booking policies easy, and they know what they're getting themselves into. How are you? Come in. Yeah, jump in. I think there's some notepads and pens in there too if you want, but yeah, jump in. Are you guys clients here as well? Do you work here? Yeah, awesome. I call you clients, I don't think you're clients. Renters, subcontractors? Yeah, awesome. Another part of the client experience, which I think is a huge oversight, is pre-appointment information. Now, I didn't have a co-working space like this. I think something that's really valuable for you guys, especially in the case of new clients, is letting people know how to actually find you. It's so hard to find these places sometimes. If you know where they are, it's great. But I think having a little PDF that you send them or a little drafted text that's like, hey, this is where I am. When you get here, this is what happens. This is where the best parking is. This is where the toilets are. Just little things like that can be a really great way of leveling up your client experience. We always used to tell people where the parking was because it was sometimes hard to access. And also our toilet was a little bit hard to find. You kind of had to walk through the storeroom to get to our toilet as well. And I just sort of let people know that so they didn't feel uncomfortable asking and they could just let themselves know. Also anything in regards to anything they need to do for their appointment. Hairdressers often don't like super clean hair that morning because it makes your scalp irritated. So it might be shampooing your hair the night before. If there's something that they need to do before teeth, do you do teeth? That's what you do? Yeah, if it's something before teeth that they need to do, let them know. A lot of people won't know that stuff, and even sometimes it's good for a refresher for someone existing anyway, The next thing is also the greeting on arrival. I used to have some really naughty people in my salon that wouldn't even acknowledge clients when they walked in the door sometimes. And I think this again goes back to when you're feeling like crap, you haven't washed your hair, your face isn't on, you're probably in your comfies, you're going to be in a salon or some sort of environment for a few hours, and you're walking into this room full of glamorous people and you're like, ooh, it's really jarring. So just be really friendly, make it a really warm experience, tell them what to do, don't just I'll meet you over there, walk with them, make it a really nice experience. And also, bane of my existence, and I was late today, so I'm guilty of this, is lateness. You are not the sun, your clients don't revolve around you, stay on time, work harder to stay on time. And if you can't be on time, let your clients know that you're not going to be on time. Just text message, just something like that. For me and for a lot of my clients too, if I'm running late, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be 10 minutes. They're like, cool, I'll go get a coffee or I'll go, do something else before they come into their appointment. So just really think about, I guess, putting yourself in your client's shoes and what some of these things might feel like for them, or what some of them, what impression they'll give, I guess. Another failure of the client experience is half-assed consultations. This is something that I push strongly against. You've got a little brochure in there. I'm coming back to Sydney in October to do a 3-hour session on the client experience. But the first and foremost thing is not leading the conversation. And this is a really hard one if you've had your clients for a long time. So that might look like they come in, you start talking to them, talk about their weekend, about their divorce, who they're banging on the weekend, I don't know, whatever. And you're kind of missing that whole opportunity where you've got their full attention to really ask them lots of questions and learn more about what they want, and ask them about how their hair's changed, how their skin's changed, what's going on with them, and create your service from there. Something else with that is try not to have barriers between your clients where possible. Sit face to face with them. Try not to stand behind them looking in a mirror, because it just puts a wall up between you. Obviously, sometimes you have to, if you have to look at the back of their head, or if they're lying on a beauty bed and you've got to look at something on their face. But always try and remove the barriers wherever you can. Something else with that is asking the wrong questions. So if any of you are married to a straight man in this room, I do this to my husband. I ask him the right questions that make it think it's his idea, even though it's my idea, but I like him to think that it's his. You kind of want to do the same thing with your clients. It's not about being manipulative or condescending or anything like that, but it's like, if you can see, for example, a client's hair's dry, they might not think it's dry, but you've got to ask the right questions to get them to realize that for themselves. Because if you just tell them that, they're like, oh, is my hair dry? Oh my God. And then they feel a bit shitty. But if you're like, tell me about the texture, tell me how it feels, what's changed, is it lasting? Whatever questions, the more open-ended ones that will get them to where you need them to be, is a really, really important one. Part of building value is they have to realize it for themselves. I'm sure that all of you could sit somebody in your chair or in your beauty bed, give them 20 products that would change their life, but if they don't know why they need it, they're never going to buy it. Yeah. Something else that I don't like, and this is especially relevant in the hairdressing industry, is not discussing the entire service start to finish. Why are you getting them back to the chair when their hair's wet and be like, so how are we cutting it today? Do it when their hair's dry and when they're sitting there and it's sitting in its natural form and how it is for themselves. Same with beauty. You shouldn't be kind of selling people things in the middle. You should be doing all of that upgrading and all of that talking and discussing the whole service right at the start of their appointment. I think it's better to just, once they're in and relaxed and you've started the service, then they can just lean into their appointment a little bit more. Something else is not creating a plan for their end game. And this is sort of a pre-framing for rebooking and pre-framing for those appointments and those clients always coming back. Obviously, some people are same every time, but we still need to work through all of this. We live in one of the most volatile weather conditions in the world. Sydney's weather goes from hot to cold to wet to dry to everything. Like, you're telling me that their hair and skin and everything won't change with that? You've got to be asking all of those questions. But with creating a plan for their future appointments, talk to them and kind of drop the seeds about coming back in 6 weeks, coming back in 8 weeks, coming back in 2 weeks, whatever follow-up appointments you need for whatever services they are. And then they're already thinking that they've got to come back. Another failure is boring your clients to death. Bored clients will leave. There are a few boring clients, there are bread and butter clients, and they're fine, but change it up. Change it up a little bit. Change the shape of their lashes, change the shape of their brows, change their color slightly, change the product slightly, do a color melt, pop some foils in, just change it a little bit, just keep it exciting for them. And that can look like, oh my God, Sim, I've been thinking about you the whole time that you've been gone, and I've got this cool new color and I'd really like to try it. I'd rather make your color a little bit more mushroomy than super ashy this time, or something like that. Just anything to make them feel loved and cared for and like you've been thinking about them. Something else with that is acting outside of integrity. While I'm here for, trying to reach a certain service target or a money target or something like that, we need to act with integrity. We need to be really honest about what it is that we're doing. If your client's hair is going to snap off, tell them. If your client is not doing something right, tell them. If you don't think a service is going to suit them, if you think that putting a blunt fringe on a big round moon face like mine is going to work, just tell them. So just make sure that you're always being honest and acting with integrity and always being very client-centric, and making sure that they're the first and foremost thing. Because I think when the clients are the focus and you're giving 110% to your clients, then from there, the money will come and everything else will come along with it. Yeah. And the last one is spending forever on a consultation. Try and knock it over in as short amount of time possible. I actually don't like to talk about retail during the consultation. I come back to that. The reason for that is I want to spend the consult uncovering what services I'm going to do, what the whole service is going to look like, giving them their quote to start them, and all of those things. Products and aftercare and retail I actually talk about when I'm in the service. The reason for that is I've got 45 minutes with you, maybe an hour, that we can actually spend some time asking more questions and learning more about you and understanding how much time you spend on your hair or on your face or whatever. So try and knock the consult over earlier, otherwise you're spending half your appointment time, you know, in a consultation. You've kind of lost them, and then you've got to speed everything up, and it's really, really hard. So
the retail at the end.
Retail in the appointment. Yeah. What do you do?
Beauty.
Your beauty. And this is skin's a hard one, because once they kind of got their eyes shut and they're relaxed, you don't want to be talking to them at all. You kind of want to just like let them lean in. With hair, I would always do this. Same with barbering. I would always try and knock the consult over, and then when I'm back and I'm cutting or I'm colouring, that's when I'd be talking about it. With beauty, I would stay face to face with them and actually do the retailing before I start the service.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Because I think it's kind of the same principle as for the hairdressers in the room, is like when the client's at the basin, don't fucking talk to them. Just like let them just relax and just chill and be part of the service. Unless you've got a service where you're comfortable talking to them, like it might be a needling thing, or it might be something where it's like, you know, not a relaxing service, then I would kind of keep asking questions and talking to them through that part of it. Yeah. I just think if you're spending all this time at the start of the appointment, and you might book your appointments like that, I know a lot of beauty people do, that's fine. But if you've only got an hour with them, it's kind of better to do it while they're lying there. It's like, so tell me about this. You said that your skin was dry, or it's redder, or you're getting a bit of this going on. Can you tell me a bit more about that? And you might be needling the shit out of their face. Maybe it's distracting for them to actually talk about it then. Short-term pain, long-term gain, hey? Perfectly leads into this next section, which is, I call it aftercare. I think products or retail sounds a bit like, people are like, they're selling me something. You guys have the most incredible incentive scheme ever. I love this so much. And I worked out based on the percentage of like how much you actually get for what you sell. Do you guys know you have this in place as well? If you're selling Salon Lane products? Yeah. Are you horrible at product sales? Yeah. I can tell by your face and you're like, perfect. A good KPI, I think, in hairdressing is 1 unit per 2 clients. And I think for beauty, it's actually 1 product per client, sometimes more. And especially in their initial appointments, I guess, you know, their products might last 3 or 4 appointments, but it's always good to really have the conversations and recommend a whole routine of products for them, because you want to be supporting the service in between appointments too. Like, you want them to leave and be able to carry that forward as much as you can. I loved when my clients left my salon and they come back in and they're learning to blow wave and it's looking really good and it's performing because they're using all the right things. It's the same as when you walk out and you've had this beautiful skin treatment and you feel so fresh and clean. Like, you want to feel like that as much as possible. So this is where the aftercare comes into play. So something with that is, you're probably not selling because you're not building enough value and you're asking the right questions. For me, it's as simple as finding out their problem, solving the problem. So for you, what's a problem that one of your clients would have? Why would they need your products?
They don't look after their hair.
Yeah. Do you do lots of extensions or something, or you colours? Yeah. And so like, maybe is it like their extensions are not holding their style, or they're just not lasting the distance? Yeah, cool.
They use too much heat, you know. Yeah.
Heat's a great one. Heat's a great one. And depending on the type of relationship you have with your clients, that could be as simple as, babe, what are you doing to your hair? Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, yeah, I straighten it like 3 times a day because it frizzes up. And you're like, okay. That leads you perfectly to then be like, well, actually, did you know, here's some facts about this. You're barbecuing your hair every day.
Yeah.
Did you know if you use this heat protector and it's actually not going to feel like that? It's going to last longer. It's going to make your extensions last longer. And they're like, oh my God, yes, that's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another part of building value is actually showing them how to use it. We skip this a lot and I don't know why. Showing them how much product to actually squirt out into their hands, or how much to scoop out of their thing. Yeah, it's so important. I'm so grateful that you do that. So many people miss this bit. I would be like, shush, listen, I'm going to show you how to use it. Because 2 things will happen if you don't show them. 1, they'll take this $50 product home and shove it in their cupboard and never look at it again because they don't know what to do with it. Or 2, they just use it wrong. You know, you have a client come in that's got greasy roots because they're putting all their product in the roots of their hair, or they're not getting the performance out of it because it's not being applied properly. So actually like building that value and just showing them how to use it is so important. And something with that too is like a little bonus tip here is people are really responsive to smells and feeling. So if you can be like, smell this, how good does it smell, and like relate it to something, it usually helps to like get them to love it a little bit more. Yeah. But more than anything is, not uncovering the problems. So trying to just really get to the bottom of what their problems are. And that could even be like something as simple as their makeup's not staying on. You know, I was like 20 when I found out primer was a thing. That could be something as simple as their blow wave isn't lasting more than a day. They've got to shampoo their hair every day. Like, ask more questions, because it can also be something like they're not washing their hair properly, or they're not taking their makeup off properly, or they're not anything like that. And I'm kind of a big believer in the more value you give them, the more that they'll trust you and the more that they'll believe what you're saying as well. I think we have this delusion sometimes that our clients are going to go and be able to replicate exactly what we do or whatever. They never will. This is what we do all day, every day. We're the best at it. So if we can give them some pointers that make their day-to-day life easier and simpler, or make, you know, their hair or their skin or whatever perform better, you get more longevity out of your teeth services, how good's that for them? Timing and touch points is also a really good thing, really powerful thing, which is if you're standing at the desk at the end and just being like, oh, so here's that shampoo I talked about for 1 minute, like back at the start, here you go, you should have this, that's selling, and it's really, really bad. Also, just not kind of talking to them at the right times throughout their appointment. Like, once they're done and once their service is done, they're kind of like bouncing out the door and they're finished. Like, don't try and sell things to them at the end. Don't sell things to them at the basin. Don't talk to them about treatments and things like that at the basin. Like, do it at the start. So I think the touch points can be a really good example of just getting things so wrong and just being really, really selly at the end. And of course, always integrity. Don't give them things they don't need for the sake of a sale. Yeah. You need to come to my hustle and learn how to sell. The next one is rebooking and client retention. I think a lot of people fuck up a lot of these. Usually we have one or two things that we're really strong at, but maybe the other ones that we aren't. So one of the key failures is not spending time on actually pre-faming and creating an appointment plan, especially relevant in your business, which I'm sure you do anyway. Most of your treatments could take multiple appointments. Spend some time planting those seeds and talking to them about what the next 3, 4, 5 months looks like for them. And same with their hair, especially if it's a color correction or something like that that they're changing, or even they're new to extensions. You know, you need to get them back in, and they need to know that they need to come back in, otherwise their treatments and their services don't work, essentially. Are you hair as well? Beauty? Beautiful. Awesome. The other thing with that is asking yes, no questions. So it's like, would you like to rebook? Or you could say something like, are we doing Tuesday in 6 weeks' time? Is a morning or afternoon better? You know, so rather than being like, are we rebooking? Or do you want to rebook? Which is giving them an opportunity for a yes, no. Yes. So then it would be more like, so Tuesday's good for you if they're in on a Tuesday. Or would you prefer morning or afternoon? Or, you know, which day of the week would you like? Yeah, it's just like when you give them the yes, no, then they'll say no, and then you've kind of got nowhere to go with it. You're like, oh my God, shit. So yeah, something like that is, you know, what day of the week is best for you? What time of day is best for you? Those sorts of questions that are more open-ended. So lead them with that. And also a rule of thumb is the wrong way to do it is payment first, then rebooking. Rebook first, then payment, because once the payment's done, they're finito. So always do closing of the retail and then the rebooking and then take their money. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the failure is the wrong way. Yeah. So rebook first, payments last thing you do. Bye. Get all your photos and everything before. Yeah. It changes everything, I promise, because I'm like, once I've had my beauty treatments, I'm paid, I'm like, see ya. Look, I'm out the door. Yeah. Yes. Okay, another part of the client experience, and I love this because you guys are all business owners as well, is not following up. So if they are someone who's had an appointment with you, and this is especially relevant in the case of new clients or a big change, is just follow up with them a couple of days later. Just want to check in how your treatment's going. Just want to check in how your hair's going. You know, this is a really great opportunity for you to get on top of any feedback, or if there has been something go wrong, or if they're not sure about a product or how to care for their service. It will usually prompt them to answer that question. I usually find just a quick, easy text message is quite simple. And, you know, I'm like you guys, only see 5, 6, 7 clients a day. So it's no biggie for me to wait until, you know, if today's Wednesday, Friday, just text all my Wednesday clients, be like, hey, how you going? Just want to check in, just want to follow up. You don't need to do it every appointment, but I would do it every 2 or 3 just to get on top of it. Or like I said, if they have a big change. Something else that this was a really big game changer in my hair and beauty salon was sending out aftercare advice. So for example, I'll use extensions. Everyone knows extensions are technical and difficult. Setting like 10 commandments or 10 rules about how to take care of them, or just some tips and tricks like not going to bed with hair wet, or, you know, whatever would help it last longer. Skin, it might be something even as simple as we recommend you sleep on a silk pillowcase, or we recommend that you use these few things, or, you know, don't leave it longer than 4 weeks to come back. Just little things like that. You can have them as like a pre-saved text. I know in Katoomba, which is what we use, we can have like multiple like pre-saved things and just text them out really easy, or just from your personal phone. And the other thing is, if they don't rebook, most booking systems, you can actually set up an automated, you're due for your appointment next week, book online here. Yeah, really good. We had ours set to 3 weeks in our barbershop, I think, and then it was like 5 weeks, I think, in our salon. And I always knew when it went out in my barbershop, because men, in the kindest way, are so lazy with things like that, because we'd get about 45 bookings about half an hour after we've sent the text out. So really good game changer, that one, was just set it up automatically for anyone who doesn't have a future rebooking, that it will prompt them with their booking link in a text. So as I said, I'm not going to spend heaps of time selling, but I'm back in Sydney on the 13th of October, and I'm doing 3 hours on the whole client experience and what that looks like in terms of like the actual appointment time with you. So it's hair, beauty, barbering friendly. I'll have my whole team with me. Also, if you guys are in Brisbane, I know some of you are, I'm not doing Brisbane, but I'm doing the Sunshine Coast. It's only an hour, you'll be fine. Get in the car. Tickets are only $99, so cheap, cheap, cheap. Questions? Anyone? Was there any online? Not yet. Perfect. If there's any questions, shoot them through. Otherwise, I can just keep going. Nothing? Nah. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah? I hope so. Yeah. Sometimes it's good for a refresher, hey? Yeah. Yeah. Nah, what booking software? The question was for you guys listening, is it hard to set up automated text messages? What system do you use? Okay, Acuity is a pretty smart system. Maybe just reach out to them and...
I get them.
Do you?
I get emails, like after I let them out.
Yeah, I mean, email's fine too. It doesn't have to be text messages. Yeah, when you... Yeah, it's the game changer to just be like, hey, you're due next week, and they're like, oh shit, because I know a lot of people are different to what it used to be 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now people are just like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm just going to book last minute, and it's a nightmare. But
people are time poor, so I
yes,
think where we have to probably pick up the phone, because I forget people trying to call and driving, drop the kids off, they're this, they're that, and they don't want to go to an email, then oh, go to my website.
Yep.
But I think picking up the phone and doing it, because they go, oh my God, Sarah, I need it. Oh, I need this.
Literally.
Yeah.
We have it happen all the time. We're like, we booking that appointment, and like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, do it right now. Like, it's just something to forget.
They go like, oh my God, just save me, I need this.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the time because they get pulled away with kids and with commitments.
Yeah. And I think, like, we also, if you're doing a lot of emailing, check your open rate. If you're sort of under that 20%, I'd probably consider moving to text messaging. If you're over 20%, you're probably doing okay. Ours is about 40%, I think. Yeah, it's something that's really important. I think our text message open rate is like 90-something%, but our emails is like 43 or something along those lines. So just consider how your clients are most responsive. And sometimes you can do a combo as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm a person, I've got 14,000 unopened emails, if that doesn't make you feel sick. So they just get lost in the Bermuda Triangle. So I'm the perfect non-email client. If you don't text me or call me, I'm a lost cause. So, yeah. Yeah.
Short and sweet, you need this.
And I think that's the thing too. Sometimes you know, you want to be friendly, but sometimes you can actually be really direct and just be like, hey, you're due next week, or let me know how your appointment went, or rate us out of 10, or something like that too. Something that's great with a follow-up text message too is ours was literally, I think it was literally like, hey, just checking in on your appointment from the other day, could you rate us out of 10, how likely you are to recommend us to somebody? Because I feel like that covers all bases. Like if they're going to recommend you, that's a good thing. And if it was an 8, 9, 10, I'm like, can you please review us on Google? Yeah, and if it was an 8 or under, I'd, you know, if it was say 6, 7, 8, I'd be like, oh my God, can I give you a call and check up? And if it was like under 6, I'm like, come back in. When can I book you in? Pop back in. I need to see you. Like I want to make sure that we can make it right. So yeah, you want to try and get as much SEO presence as you can, you know, especially in an area like this where there's such a high concentration of salons and clinics. Mm. I think they can give you the recording back anyway.
Oh, can they?
Yeah, they've got me on Zoom. Yeah, take the whole bag. Yeah, go for it. We bought heaps because we didn't know how many people were coming today or anything. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Oh, I've got ages, Charles. Yeah, I know. How good do these look? Go. But yeah, they're recording it for you as well. So if you guys want a copy of it, just ask them. Yeah, I've got 3 more sections, so I'm going to be here a while. Thank you. Go. Yeah. Perfect. So the next section I want to talk about is a little bit about money and financial management, and this is the perfect time of year for it. It actually should be start of financial year health check because we're now in the new financial year, which is very scary. This is something that I earmark every single year in my business. Do you mind just closing them? It's just that I can just hear the dryers going. Thank you. This is something I earmark every single year in my business, and I also explain to my clients too as well. So my clients are obviously all hair and beauty business owners, and that is to actually get your bank statement, print off the last 3 to 6 months. It's a painful, horrible job, but actually go through and just review where all of your money is going, and do it for your business and your personal expenses as well. It is amazing how many like subscriptions and weird things, or how much you're spending on stock that you should have spent, or you know, there's just all these expenses that have gone up. I found out that my phone bill had gone up $30 a month and I didn't even know, you know, and I just had to make a quick phone call and get it back down again. But it's crazy how much money you spend on just ridiculous shit that you could literally just chop out, and this will create so much extra freedom money every week or every month in your business. Always keep your personal and your business separate. And I know that a lot of you are sole traders, but I still believe in keeping them both separate. It's a part of money karma to actually separate your money. you're like, oh. And I know it's easy, it's just like tap or you just draw out or whatever, but actually saying, hey, I'm going to pay myself $1,000 a week or $2,000 a week or whatever that looks like, and actually transferring that over and then having that as your personal spending money is so important for, you know, giving your money rules and your money karma, and also just like actually having, what do you call it? Like valuing yourself enough to pay yourself a wage rather than just like swipe, tap, whatever. So keep them separate if you can. Where it says chop, 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 that means get rid of anything that you don't want to spend or you don't need to spend on anymore. So always like cutting out and chopping as many expenses and stupid things that that we spend money on. And you know, this is a really deadly one with lifestyle creep, right? All of a sudden you start earning a bit more money, you're like, ooh, I've got a bit more money to spend. So you start going out for lunch more, you start doing more things. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you to cut out every single exciting thing in your whole life. Like if you love a morning coffee, get a morning coffee, I'm here for it. If you want your avocado, get your bloody avocado, get 6 of them, I don't care. But just be mindful of where your money is going and what you're actually spending on, and whether or not it's you know, working you positively or whether it's really costing you a lot of money. The next point here is to negotiate or jump ship if need be. So this is things like your power, your phone bills, like things like that you can actually negotiate down. And it's pretty amazing how powerful it actually is. If you just spend a day calling all the people that you have memberships and things with, how many of them will actually bring your membership down or bring your costs down. We've just moved house, so we've just done this with like all of our bills, and it's insane how much money we've saved by just having a conversation with them and asking them. They can say no, but it's worth the conversation anyway. And also, if you need to jump ship, jump ship. This also goes for product companies. They're not loyal to you, so you don't need to be loyal to them. If someone's going to give you a better deal and still get you a product that performs as you need it to perform, jump ship. It's an awesome way to save money. The other thing I like to do too is just really compare your actual profit to what your goals were that you set the year before. So if you're earmarking this every financial year, I actually also do it on the calendar year because I just think it's kind of nice to, revisit my goals and reset my goals and really look at what's going on. I just think you should actually have a look and see how you're tracking and see how things compare. But yeah, I like to use your actual bank statements opposed to a profit and loss. The reason for that is your accountant, if they're doing a good job and they're creative, will be manipulating your profit and loss and actually making it look different to what it actually is. So I think the bank statements is a little bit more confronting, maybe. The next one is I want you to analyze your service menu, and I'm going to go into this in detail. I've got a whole section on it later, so I've just written more on this soon, but that's the second thing that I do always for my health check at the end of financial year. The third one is to stock take everything. This is the worst job. I hate stock take more than anything in the world, pretty much. I'd rather paint or clean, but stock taking has to be done. And I know that some of you, especially Salon Lane clients or renters, subcontractors, I know that you guys do just use a lot of their products because of the convenience and whatever, and that's absolutely fine too. But if you do have any stock in rotation, make sure that you actually do a stock take, because much like our spending, if you don't look at it, all of a sudden you can have just this like absolute overload of products. Don't be silly. So count every single item that you have in stock and make a list of it. Also, I like to look at recent client buying patterns and whether seasonal ordering is needed. The reason for that is I know that when all my salons are in Victoria, I live in Queensland now. Queensland weather doesn't really change that much. It's kind of always hot and humid. But in Melbourne, for example, it gets really, really cold and then it gets really, really hot. So you've got people that are kind of going darker with their hair or using more moisturising things because they're in air conditioners. And then in summer, you've got people that need things with more SPF and those sorts of things in them. So actually, it was very seasonal. And also, trends happen. Years ago, no one was getting balayage. Balayage would have been the idea of hell, right? They would have been like, oh, I look like I've got regrowth. What the hell? Now it's everywhere. So that's an example of a different client buying pattern that we're experiencing at the moment. Even things like dry shampoo never used to exist. Even a lot of skin products that we use now never used to exist. So if client buying patterns are changing and they're maybe not buying some of the old things that they used to buy, start stocking less of them. And if they're buying more of other things, start stocking more of them. And also I know that for us, we used to sell a lot of Christmas packs and things like that. People used to use them as gifts for people. So you might want to be doing some seasonal ordering there as well. If you are overstocked, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of your product companies will actually buy your products back from you. Sometimes they'll do it for 10 or 20% less. So if you've got like a whole heap of products, you're like, I really just don't sell this product. Can I sell it back to you? They might buy it back at 20% less. So yeah, you've lost a little bit, but then you can use that money to replenish into something that you do actually sell or that you do actually use. You could always run a sale, and also a lot of suppliers will also swap out one for one or swap out product for product. So that's always worth looking at as well, especially in the case of colour or professional use products. I find they're pretty good with swapping out. And then always, if you're not using your point of sale system for your stock take, you should be. Lighten the load, lighten your brain load, get computers working for you. They're so smart. We need to be leaning into technology more than we need to be, doing everything manually. So make sure all of your products and stock amounts are really correlating with your point of sale software. Okay. Next one is, and a lot of indies overlook this because they don't have staff, and it's really important that you don't do this because you guys are very important, because if you don't perform, your business doesn't perform, you don't get paid. It's a shit show. Yeah. So I really think it's important, and I would recommend that you do this every quarter, but especially at the end of financial year, is to really look at how your business has performed and what that looks like in your business. So the first one is your productivity, and that is basically how busy you are. Are you booked out all the time? Do you have gaps? Could you take on more clients? Are you expanding your hours? Are you reducing your hours? Take a look at your productivity and I guess set some goals around that. Also, the number of clients that you see in a day, a week, or a month. Do you want it to be more? Do you want it to be less? Are you not booking things really practically where you might have weird gaps that you can't fill? how many clients are you actually seeing, and is that growing if you want it to grow, or is it reducing if you want it to reduce? Another one I really like is new client intake. Now, I know a lot of you are probably booked out, which is amazing, and I love that for you. So it might not be relevant to you, but if you are actually intaking new clients, where are they coming from? How are they finding you? Always track that information. Service sales in dollars is always really important. That should be increasing a lot every year. Aftercare sales should always be increasing. Everyone should be selling products to their clients. And you can look at aftercare sales as units, so number of products, or you can look at it as dollars as well. It doesn't really matter. I think it's just important to make sure that your actual dollar figures are actually growing year on year, or month on month, or quarter on quarter. Always look at rebooking rate. For me, a good rebooking rate, a healthy rebooking rate in 2025 is 75% plus. So 3 out of 4 of your clients should be rebooking. In terms of retention, I think retention is a really good indicator of whether clients are happy. So the difference between rebooking and retention, I'll just clarify. Rebooking is people who book on the spot. Retention is people who come back or don't come back. So you might have, some people that don't come back for a long time, but they do come back. That's retained, but rebooked is slightly different. So, and in terms of retention, I would be always aiming for over 90%. I think if you're not retaining more than 10% of your clients, if 10% of them are dropping off, that's pretty concerning, that either your service needs to level up, or there's something amiss with what you're offering your clients. They're maybe not that happy. So yeah, good opportunity to look deeper within anyway. Something else I like to look at is average client spend, average ticket value. Everybody calls it something different. But I also like to make sure that my average client spend is going up. So, an average in the beauty industry now, I believe, is somewhere around the 150, and for hair, it should be somewhere close to like 275. Obviously, if you're doing extensions, it would be a higher dollar amount, but generally speaking, that's a pretty good thing. Profitability, obviously, this is the reason we're all in business. We didn't go into business to make friends. We went into business to make money and to make people look and feel beautiful. So if your business isn't profiting, there's a whole myriad of reasons that that's the case. But really important to be looking at your profitability. And, profitability can be a number of things. It can be you're spending too much. It can be you're not earning enough. It can be you've got debt up to your eyeballs, not enough clients. It can be a whole heap of things that all kind of relate back to all of this information here. So the next one is debt. Debt's a pretty dirty word in my opinion. We have mortgages up to here at the moment. But if your debt is not going anywhere, that's also really concerning for me. So we need to create a plan of attack of how we're going to actually attack that debt. And again, is it reducing costs? Is it making more money? Is it seeing more clients? Is it working more days? How are we going to actually start to attack that debt? It's usually a combination of things. It's not usually one thing that's keeping us in debt. So that's ATO debt, business debt, car loans, all sorts of things. Debt should be something that you try and get rid of straight away. Don't care what your accountant says, get rid of your debt. The next one is sick days. This is probably more important if you do have staff, and I know some of you do, but if you're taking a lot of sick days, work out why. Most of you are young, fit, healthy people. If you're having a lot of sick days, or you're taking a lot of time off, there's probably something underlying. It's also really deadly for your business. Your clients are usually pretty flexible, 1 or 2 sick days, but once it comes more frequently and you're constantly moving them, they'll just be like, enough, I've had enough. And I know we spoke briefly about getting some reviews. Reviews are really important for SEO, really important for business growth, really important for you guys to actually get feedback and learn what your clients want or what they love, do more of what they love, less of what they don't. But constantly kind of feeding new reviews. I'm pretty sure on Google, you've got to have at least 20 reviews to kind of even show up on the first page. And you've got to pretty much constantly be fueling that, so a few every month. So always do whatever you can to get people to leave you reviews. You don't have to be on Google if you don't want to, but I think it's important, especially if someone's like, Hairdresser Sydney or Beauty Therapist Sydney or something like that. You want to be kind of like popping up. And also referrals. There's this really weird thing that people are afraid to ask for referrals. A lot of your clients probably don't know that you're looking for more clients. Just ask them. I love looking after you. I'm sure your friends are just like you. I'm really trying hard to build my clientele. Can you send me some of your friends? And then give them a free product, give them a free something, to say thank you for the referral. I would caution you not to give away a free service. In my opinion, services are too expensive in terms of like that's your time, that's your effort. I would rather, you know, even if you guys have to pay Salon Lane $20 for a product, that for me is more valuable. Just give them something to be like $20 here. Thank you for referring me someone, opposed to giving a free something that might be, you know, $100 service or something like that. I think that's a really valuable thing. So yeah, take a look at all these KPIs, track these regularly, and it's also a really great indicator of patterns as well. Like if your aftercare sales are lacking, you know, you've got to work on that a little bit more. If your rebooking's dropping, you know, you've got to work on that a little bit more. If your service sales or your client numbers are dropping, why is that happening? These are all really good indicators of what we need to work on. The next one is get to know your clients better. I'm sure a lot of you know your clients really well, and you can pretty much tell me who they are and what they do and where they're from and what type of clients you love doing, but go a little bit deeper. Like, who are they? What do they like doing? Like, learn a little bit more about their psychographics of like what their interests are and whatever. In terms of this question here, which is your demographic changing? This happened in my first business that I owned. When I bought it, it was, our clientele was 60 plus, $80 tint and trims, gorgeous little old ladies, but really not the fun stuff that I wanted to be doing as a 19-year-old when I bought it. And so what we did is we worked really hard to actually change the demographic of our clients. So then all of a sudden we got down into this, you know, 25 to 35 bracket. We had a few different avatars in there, but watch if your demographic's changing. Learn about why they're coming to you. Do you want to do more of them or less of them? It's not as hard as what you think it is to actually change your demographic of clients if you're not loving who they are. I also like to look at, are your clients returning? How often are they coming back? And I look at the time between visits. I don't know why I've written visits and visits, but you know. A lot of your booking software will tell you this KPI as well. So the difference is if a client comes every 6 weeks, they're seeing you 9 times a year. And if they're coming back every 8 weeks, they're seeing you 6 times a year. So you're missing out on 3 appointments a year. So that 2 weeks extra does actually make a huge difference to how much they spend with your business, and also how many more clients you do actually have to get. Are you good? Oh. Thank you. Yeah, so I always like to look at why they're extending, or is there a way that I can get them back in for like an infill appointment in the middle? And then again, are they spending more? Are they spending less? Are they spending way less? Why is that happening and what can we do about it? And have some of your clients turned over? Are some of them not coming back? And if they're not coming back, why are they not coming back? And if they haven't come back, why have they left? Have you asked them for feedback? Can you reignite a conversation with them and actually find out more information? Sometimes it can be something really trivial. Oh, my friend became a hairdresser, or I don't know, I moved away or something like that. And sometimes it can be like, you know what, I just didn't feel it last time, or XYZ happened. And then you know that that's something that you've got to work on. Yeah. And again, have you got a good flow of new clients, and where are they finding you? You know, if you're not getting any clients from social media, or that's not converting, stop investing so much time in it. Invest in something else that is getting you clients. If you know that your clients love getting a free product for referring you, I'd be pushing how I tell people to refer me. If I know they're finding me on Google, I'm investing in Google. Just learn a little bit more about it. And it's a simple question of how they found you when they come to you for the first time anyway. I call this one your sex appeal, and it's kind of a bit different when you work in a beautiful co-working space like this, because obviously the sex appeal is very much on here. But in a nutshell, is your furniture fucked? Is your space outdated? Is your equipment dying in the arse? If you're not reinvesting in your business, I think that's a really terrible decision, and I think you need to try and find some budget. Is your branding selling you well, or is it giving? I took a time machine back to 2005. We've all walked past those salons that are like stuck in a time warp from the 80s. They've never updated a single thing, and you're like, oh God, poor things, so unappealing. So just, you know, make sure that you are having a look at your branding. There's no harm in a rebrand every now and again. You probably don't want to do it 3 times a year, but you know, every couple of years, to keep on top of things and keep with the trend, or keep with how you're growing and you're evolving and you're changing. My business used to be called Summit Salon Coach, and it used to have a crystal as the logo. So I outgrew that a little while ago. So, you know, always work with who you are and what message you're delivering. And with that, is your website reading well? Is it appealing to the clients that you want? And is it delivering the right message? Like, there's no point having this beautiful, beachy, gorgeous thing with these kind of walls if that's not the type of client that you would attract. If you want brightly coloured, fun, androgynous people. You need to have a website that reads like that and a brand that reads like that. There's no right or wrong, but I think if I'm a client and I'm looking for something specific, I'm going to find the one that reads the right way for the thing that I want. And also, was your last social media post about 7 months ago? Is your info up to date? Do your prospects know what you do? So a prospect is a client who hasn't become a client yet. It's just someone who's scoping it out, marketing term. So yeah, again, like I said to you guys earlier, like please make sure it's very clear on anywhere that people can find you, that it's clear what you do and where you're located, and it's easy to book with you. Never make it hard for your clients to pay you. The next one is marketing, and this is a one for me that I know that all of a sudden I looked at, I was spending like way more because my marketing agent had put my spend up many years ago, and I had to cut it off because I was like, holy shit, I'm spending like 10 grand a month. This is insane. How much are you actually investing into your marketing? And that's not just dollars. An input for marketing can be the time you take to film content. It can be the time you take to copyright things. It can be, anything actually around marketing. That's like how much you are actually investing, because time is very, very important as well. Cliche, but time you don't get back. So if you're investing a lot of time into your marketing, is it actually working? A lot of people think that, having someone that manages social media, or having someone who does their email marketing, or having someone who does any sort of marketing for them, when they invest a heap, or they're investing a heap of their own time doing it, they just assume that it's working, but it's actually not, because they're not tracking how many clients they get from it. I just want you guys to be conscious of where your money and your effort is going, and ensure that it actually is giving you a really, really good return. And probably something else to note with this too, just on the topic of social media, and I talk about this a lot because it's what people lean into the most. If you're getting like 50 likes and 10 comments, but none of them are converting into actual clients, you're investing in the wrong thing. I get like 3-4 likes, but I'll have 4 people message me and I convert them into a lead. So don't focus as much on engagement as much as actually conversions and actually converting those people into clients. Yeah. I think we can get really hell-bent on looking at what everybody else is doing and following everybody else's. Oh my God, they're so popular. Oh my God, they're so busy. They just get so much engagement. You don't know that none of them are converting. And it does happen. It does happen a lot. So the next part is systems. So time to review your systems. I'm going to go through booking policies and procedures soon. And we did touch a little bit on the feedback loop. So for me, getting on top of feedback before it gets on top of you. I think that, there's nothing more heart-wrenching than when you get like a horrible review and you're like, fuck, and it just cuts a hole in your soul, and then, you've left it too long to deal with it. For me, it's about get on top of it before that happens, bless you. The next thing is insurance compliance. I got stuck out with this once that, and thankfully like nothing happened, but my actual insurance broker was like, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but you probably need to have this now because the awards changed. And I was like, shit. And I had to get a new type of insurance called professional indemnity insurance. So always make sure that your insurances are up to date. It'll be like the one time that someone gets a burn or trips over or does something that, that's not good. The next thing is financial and taxation compliance. So this changes a lot as well. Obviously, super rates have gone up, whether you employ yourself, when you pay yourself super, or whether you're a sole trader, they're different. But always just cross-checking with your accountant at this time of year and your bookkeeper that all of your financial and taxation compliance is exactly where it needs to be and it's all up to date. The next thing is your marketing and automation. So this is something that I get Simone to do because I don't get it. But in terms of your marketing automation, this is things that we spoke about earlier, like the automated text to like get people rebooking. You might have an email journey, like maybe your clients go to your website, they put in their email and it might be like, hey, here's some information about me. And then 3 weeks later, it automatically sends them a bit of advice about something or something funny or an ebook or I don't know, anything. Try and automate as much of your marketing as you possibly can because we're already so friggin' busy, and let alone when we're trying to do all of this manually. It's just another thing that we've got to do, another hat we've got to wear as a business owner. The next thing, and this is a really, really important one for business people. I know that everybody diagnoses themselves with ADHD. I actually do have ADHD and I can't be medicated because we're going through IVF at the moment. But how I organise and the flow of my days, especially my on the business days and my off the business days. So this might be something that you need to review if you're finding that you're just not getting a lot of performance out of your days. So in terms of your off the business days, for me, that looks like having a meeting with my staff, allocating all the tasks I've got to do, working out what I can delegate, and then taking on everything. It also might mean booking actual phone calls with people to get things done. In terms of my on the business days, if I don't come in and start my morning really well and plan out who I'm speaking to and read through all of their notes before my coaching sessions, I'm ruined for the day. So for you guys, this might mean coming in and having a little bit of a huddle with yourself and looking at all of your client cards and looking at who needs to buy products and looking at opportunities for upgrading, or if you think 2 clients are going to be ready at the same time, readjusting them, or if you think you're going to be too pushed for time, moving things around. It will change the way that your business flows and how your day flows. And yeah, I'm naturally just an absolute blob when it comes to organizing anything. So if I don't actually book things in like appointments and have the discipline to stick to them, I get nothing done. It's a mess. So, changing your own systems around how you flow your business and how you flow your days is a really, really powerful tool in business anyway. And then next thing obviously is managing your finances and taxation. Do you delegate that? Do you do it yourself? Is it something that you could do more regularly? Is it something you completely ignore for 4 months and then you have to backtrack on? I find a lot of hairdressers and beauty therapists just ignore everything until they get told to do it, and then they're like, oh shit, I've got to do like 6 months of work. The last thing with systems is if something is broken, fix it. If something is not working, fix it. If your clients are giving you feedback on something, fix it. It's not that hard. And people overthink systems. A systems is just the process of how you do things. It could just be like turn on lights, unlock computer, put cash in drawer, whatever that looks like. It doesn't need to be difficult at all. So the next one is debt. I talk a lot about debt. There was a time when I was 24 years old and I had 2 salons and I had $290,000 of ATO, super and consumer debt. And it was eating me alive, and I definitely was living in the loans never going anywhere, ATO debt coasting. I think I had a $60,000 credit card and I paid off the whole lot from hard work and a plan of attack. So in terms of your debt, if you are in a debt snowball or you are paying your debt down, make sure that you're tracking it every month, or I find monthly's better. Weekly's probably a bit too soon. Weekly payments aren't really going to make that much of a difference, but have a look at how they're going down, or if they are going down, or if they're just staying the same. I know a lot of people, they have ATO debt and it's like they pay one off and then they get whopped another one, and it's just like kind of hovers and it just never goes anywhere. Create a plan of attack to actually get out of that. Same as loans, you're best to kind of fire all your money at one loan and pay off one at a time if you've got multiple debts, rather than putting a bit here and a bit there and a bit there and nothing goes anywhere. Always creating a plan to get out of your loans and out of your debts. And also with credit cards, once you pay it down, drop the limit down, stop spending back on it again. A lot of people I speak to have vehicle finance. They've bought the new Range Rover, it's awesome, it was $100,000. 2 years later, their car's worth $40,000 and their loan's still worth $70,000. Just be considerate of like what vehicles you buy, ones that hold their value, and maybe who you finance through, that it's not this like massive long loan that, never goes anywhere. Also, outstanding accounts. For me, it was always a priority to ensure that I could pay my, I'd always order on the first day of the month, so I had 60 days to pay, but I always make sure that I pay my bills and I pay my accounts so that I'm always on top of it. Because then if I do need to order something emergently, or if I do need to order something, I'm not on stop supply, or I'm not just like getting behind and then all of a sudden I have 10 grand of stock bills. So just make sure you're finding strategies and systems to, stay on top of your finance. And also, I would be really looking at something I make my clients do in the first few weeks of their coaching with me, is I make them write down how much of a wage they actually take out of their business, whether they work that out yearly, annual, yearly, monthly, weekly, whatever that looks like. And then I actually make them break it down by how many hours they work in their business. And it's shocking to me how many people earn less than $10 an hour before I start working with them. Or they're working 80 hours a week and they're earning, $700-800, $1,000, something like that. That's not what business should be like. These are all signs of an unhealthy business, in my opinion. So there is a way out though. And the last one is goals. And I've got a whole section on goals soon. So without direction, you'll just drift. You always have to have a goal in the forefront or in the plans, or, whatever. So I have a couple of free ebooks. I have a whole library of free ebooks if you want the freebies. But Rich Bitch is about basically 88 days of growing your wealth. So it's just like a different little tool every day. And then Cash is King is just a little bit of a ways of increasing your money or increasing your cash, I guess. There's lots of free resources in my library if you're interested. Sorry, darling. No, don't be silly. Yeah, cool. Any questions at all from anyone? Is there anyone there? No? Sorry, I just need to go just dry my throat. My throat's so dry. Awesome. Okay. How are we going for time? Oh, good. Okay. Oh, it's 11:11. I love that. So cute. This the longest sections have been at the start, I promise you. So the next section we call in our business Project Profit, because at the end of the day, we are in business to profit and we are in business to make money. Otherwise, why the fuck would you go into business? You would just have a job. If you were just in business to earn a wage, that's really, really sad. So Project Profit is pricing out your services. So this is where I'm going to talk to you guys about all about your service menu and all about your pricing and basically show you how to do this. So we do actually have an indie version of Project Profit, which is it's 50% off until Sunday if you guys do want it, which does it all for you. You just have to input the numbers, but I'm going to talk you through it in layman's terms today anyway, so hopefully this can help you. So this is the perfect time to be revisiting your pricing. Really, really great time of year to do it because usually you've got a whole year of expenses to look at, but also most things go up at this time of year. Cost of living goes up, wages go up, everything goes up. So the simple rules of pricing that so many people fuck up. The first one is pricing based on everybody around you and just having a stab and just going, oh, well, everyone around me charges $100 for a haircut, so that's what I'm going to charge, but not actually knowing if that's right for you. The next one is not putting prices up or adjusting your pricing because you think all your clients are going to leave you. This is also really common and it's a really big projection, and I think especially relevant in the last few months or last few years, I guess. I think we've been through 9 interest rate rises and only 2 down. So it's been like, a hugely expensive time for a lot of people. And so then that usually carries over to hair and beauty appointments where they're like, oh, I can't do it every 6 weeks, got to do it every 8 or something similar. And the other thing is never upskilling and increasing your worth or your value of your appointments. So you're all here, so I know that you're not like that because you're here learning, even if it was a free session for you guys today. It's great that you've come along and it's great that you are investing your time into your business. So there are 15 steps to nailing your service pricing and nailing your menu. And I'm going to take you through all of those. So there's quite a bit in it. So if you want to screenshot it or whatever, go ahead. But the first one is using your bank statement, put together a list of all of your costs. Now, if you've already done the health check, you should have a list of all of your costs anyway. But I want you to put it all together in a big long list. And then I want you to add on what you want to earn, or what you do earn if you're happy with your wage at the moment. And then I want you to add on your taxes. Obviously, I'm assuming most of you are paying GST because you'd all be over that 75,000. You probably have to be to afford being in a salon lane because they're so beautiful. And then I want you to total up that whole number. So for most indies, it looks something like between $2,000 to $3,000 a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what kind of products and stuff you do and what kind of services you do. If it's over $3,000 a week, I'd be pretty bloody concerned and I'd be starting to really look at where my money's going. From there, I'd like you to decide how many hours you would like to work in a week. And the reason for this is, I'm sure a lot of you are probably working a lot more than what you want. And there's probably some of you that really aren't working as much as what you want to. You might not be busy enough, but I want you to work out how many hours you want to work in a week because this is how we're going to work out all of your pricing. So you're going to have your total dollars and then you're going to have how many hours. So you're going to divide down the total dollars by how many hours you want to work, and this is your hourly labor cost. So labor is not about just what you pay yourself. Your labor is all of your business's expenses all jammed into one and then divided down by how much you actually work. That's the labor cost. The product goes on top of that. So don't include product in this, I should have said as well. And then I want you to divide it down by 60 because obviously there's 60 minutes in an hour and this means your per minute labor cost. And this is going to become very, very important. So I want you to write it down. Okay. The next step is write down every single product that you use for each service. So this would be your color, your salon use products, your testers, your basin products, everything that you use that you pay for each service. Just name them. Then I want you to write out the cost and their size. And then you want to divide the cost by the size. So this will give you a per gram or a per mil cost. I don't think there'd be too many other things. You may, in the case of... say something like lash extensions. I know that they come in like little trays. You might know that one tray might get you 2 uses. So then I would divide that by 2 uses. This will make sense soon, I promise. It'll make even more sense if you do my course. But this is how you can know how much your products cost for each service. The next one is the time-consuming bit, and this is where you're going to write a list of every service that you perform. So in the case of hairdressing, you'd be like half head foils, short, medium, long, full head foils, short, medium, long, global color, short, medium, long, however you price it out is fine. I'm not sure what your services look like for you, all of your different types of facial, are you beauty? You said, didn't you? Yeah. All your different types of facials, everything like that. Then you're going to write next to it how long you spend performing each service in minutes. And it's really important that you don't lie on this. If you take 75 minutes to do a service, write 75 minutes. If you take 45, write 45, don't write 40. It's really important that you're honest. And as an indie, if you do have time that you have with that client, say shampooing them or even in a consult, add that in. So if the service itself is 60 minutes, but you do a 10-minute consult, it's a 70-minute service because you have to be charging for all the time that you spend with that client. Okay? Then you're going to multiply those minutes out by your labor cost. So if it's 60 minutes, multiply that by your 60 minutes. If it's 40, multiply by 40. That's going to give you your labor cost for that service. Then you're going to add in how many grams or mils of product you use for each service. And then this will give you a total cost. So that is not the price that you offer. That is your total cost for that service. You need to be charging more than that because you need to profit. Profit looks different for everybody. Might be $1 a minute, might be 50%, might be 100%, might be nothing. I want you to be profiting something, might be even $10 per service. You need to be adding profit to your service. The reason for that is you're not booked up 100% of the time, there's always gaps. You will have unexpected expenses and things like that come up that you may have missed. You always need to be walking away with profit on top of your wage, and your business needs to be moving forward. Even as an indie business, your business is still sellable and you're still going to want to get out one day. So we need to be making it look really good. We need to be profiting and we need to be making sure that our time at work is spent well. So that is the technical way that you have to do your pricing. And if you're not doing it that way, you're being lazy. It doesn't take that long. You just got to do it once a year. But like I said, in our course, we have all the spreadsheets and everything done for you. You've just got to punch in all the numbers and it will automatically spit out the digits. So it's a really, really good thing. Something I really, really want to highlight is pricing is not a grey area. It's fact. What your business costs you is fact. There are ways that you can reduce your prices, and that would be taking less time on every service and working faster. That would be reducing the actual cost, so changing products, cutting costs out of your business, reducing your costs wherever you can. And the other option is growing a team if that's something that's something that you want to do. I know some of you don't ever want to, and that's awesome. I don't think I could ever have a team again, to be honest. But this is ways that we can reduce it, but your pricing is not a grey area. If your service costs $100, you can't charge $70 for it because you're paying someone $30 to sit in your chair. Does that make sense? I feel that there's this really big misconception of people like, oh, but it's too expensive. I'm like, but that's what you have to charge. You have to. It's just what it is. I would always recommend updating your prices at least once, but sometimes 2 times a year as your costs increase. For me, I feel like probably your most expensive cost would be, being here. So whenever they put their pricing up for you guys, that would be a good time for you guys to adjust your prices. And also, not charging enough and not profiting is a choice. If you aren't willing to enforce your prices, you're choosing to lose, pretty much. So this is our Project Profit course. No pressure, 50% off till Sunday. We do have it on a payment plan as well if you want to get it. But like I said, it does all the work for you. It does all of your breaking down of all of your costings. It does your pricing worksheet, and then it tells you exactly how to implement that actual price increase and everything with your clients as well. Is there any questions? No? Perfect. Everyone's very quiet. Last time everyone was really chatty. This time it's quiet. I feel like I'm just punching through everything. Perfect. Beautiful. Second last section for today is systems. Can you please fill me up?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just feel like I'm going to have a coughing fit, then I'm not going to have water. Like, yeah, you know when you get really dry and you're like, ugh. Okay. So, there's kind of a delusion with indies that systemization's not that important. Oh, is the tap just there? Sorry, I could have got that. There's this delusion sometimes with people who work on their own that things don't need to be systemized because they don't have a team and there's no one else following it. But honestly, whatever you can automate and whatever you can systemize for your own brain and your own clients and your own everything, the better and the easier it's going to be. As much as a lot of us are usually creative and a bit crazy and, not naturally very organized, that's even more important to organize yourself and organize your life and organize, how you do things and how you run things. Obviously, big fan of automation wherever you can, especially in the case, I know that a lot of you guys are with clients all day, you probably come back to your phone, you've got 75 messages. Just have some auto replies there, even if it's as simple as, hey, leave us a message, we'll respond when we can, or click here for pricing, or click here for booking. Automate that so you're not, waiting and you're not catching up at 9 p.m, catching everybody when they could have just clicked a little link. If you're time poor, don't be afraid to outsource. I've got a lot of my indies use VAs, or they have, when I was in India, I was working on my own for 18 months and then I actually got basically a full-time assistant. So I could still work 80 hours a week on my clients, but I had somebody else doing all my bookings, doing my shampooing, doing all of my inquiries and everything like that. And it just lightened my load so much. And that was an expense that I looked at as an investment because I made it available. But there's lots of options now with VAs, and even AI is doing some pretty crazy things now too. Don't overthink your systems when you're creating them. Like I said, they don't need to be these big, long, technical, elaborate things. It can literally be a step-by-step. Especially in the case where you're outsourcing, you need to put the steps together so you can outsource and then you know that they're doing the right things. And the most important systems, in my opinion, for indie businesses is the process of onboarding clients, the client experience, bookings and cancellations, and a feedback process. So I'm going to take you through just those 4 today because I feel like they're like the 4 kind of main pillars for me. So the first one is onboarding prospects into clients. So remembering obviously that a prospect is someone who is not a client yet. It's someone that's going to become a client. This might be someone who sent you a message. It might be someone who's on your mailing list. They're just a really cold lead or a warm lead and they're a prospect at the moment. Once they become a client is once you get that booking or get that sale. So where do your clients actually initiate contact with you? Because that's something that needs to be systemized. It might be social media, it might be email, it might be website, it might be, anywhere. And is it easy for them to book an appointment with you? And if not, how can you make it easy? I find, obviously my clients are hairdressers and beauty therapists, and I'm not putting everybody in a box because I'm this person too, but sometimes you can literally be like, push this big pink button to book, and they still go, but how do I book? And you're like, oh my God. So just remember that sometimes you really might have to make it really simple or really bold or really clear for your clients for how they can book an appointment with you. The next thing is your website / online booking clear, simple and directive, or is it distracting and off-putting and too much and they don't know what to do? In terms of online booking for services, keep it really simple. Just have one haircut, one blow wave, 1.5 head of foils and a full head of foils with all the services in it. You can change the technicality of it later. For you might just have different types of facials that you might even just call them something simple like moisturizing facial or cleansing facial, or something that makes it a bit easy for your clients. I find that sometimes using too much technical jargon, or I'm not calling them stupid by any stretch, but sometimes using too much technical jargon can be really distracting. They're like, oh, I don't know what to book, so they book the wrong thing anyway. So try and make it easy for yourself and do something that's really, really simple. What services do you do?
System booking system.
What services, like what teeth services do you do?
So we do teeth whitening service, we do teeth whitening training, and we do teeth whitening products.
Awesome.
Wholesale.
Yeah, cool, amazing. I love that. And then from that too, like once they contact you, this is great for a VA one here. Once they contact you, then what happens? Do you contact them? Do you send them links? Do you send them info? Do you get them on the phone? What actually happens next? Do you text them? Do you email them? What's the next stage of that step? And then how do you ensure that they're going to become a client? What's your sales process? Like, how do you win them over? We overlook this a lot. For me, it's being really conversational and talking to them like they're a human, validating that they're normal, validating that every business they've ever worked with has not been perfect and had problems, validating that I have not had a perfect business and I was for a very long time a very terrible business owner. You know, for me, that usually giving them that human to human validation and confirmation and conversation, for me, ensures that most of them are going to become a client. And then also from that, once you have them booked in, then what happens? Do they get confirmations? Do they get sent pre-appointment advice? What happens? What's that process like? So these are just some things to think about when you are onboarding your new clients. Yeah?
So regarding the onboarding clients, sometimes I think I wanted to get involved of, assistant or someone online or AI to reply to clients. I have been replying clients every day, 7/24, always. I feel very
Drained.
but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that to be busy. But the thing I'm worried about is that if I involve a lot of person to do those replies
Yeah.
or greeting clients, I don't think they will do better than me. So
Yeah.
one of my concerns that like for onboarding clients, it's very important for me to understand my clients or understand what's their issues or
Yeah.
what do they, get out from the T-Smart. I want to make sure that they're comfortable, they know the service are not exactly 100 pain free, but
Yeah.
we'll make them very comfortable. But all those things, I want to make sure my clients experience once they
Awesome.
get in touch with me. But
Yeah.
if I outsource this part, I'm not too sure if that will
Could
work.
you, just like thinking like kind of chunking up here, could you do like frequently asked questions like PDF or something like that? Or could you even do like a video of you actually talking about some of these things that clients frequently ask you? Just being like, hey, I will get back to you as soon as I can, but here's some information. Let me know if you have any more questions. And maybe that might cut out a lot of that like sales process. Do you think you could do something like that?
Yes. Well, we do have like a FNQ on the website. Well, I will think about it. I always want to outsource it.
Yeah.
I mean, like replying message 724 and then, my husband was like,
Get off your phone. My husband's the same. Something like that. I also feel like you could maybe do almost like a click journey, like using AI or using a bot or something. It could just be like, what's your inquiry, interested in your services? What's some frequently asked questions, or do you have any concerns? And it could be like, is it painful? Is it this? Is it that? And they could just click in. I don't know. There would be something you could do there. You could also just save, like for you, if you go back and you're like, you would know what all the client questions are that they ask, right? Because it's all the same.
yeah.
Same as I'm sure a lot of beauty treatments and stuff too. Like that's the first thing I ask them, like, is it going to hurt? And they're like, a little bit. I'm like, but like a lot hurt or a little bit hurt? Because, but even something with that, you could actually write a whole bunch of replies. So if somebody is messaging, say a virtual assistant or say someone you have in your team, and the client's like, or the prospect is like, is this painful? So you could just copy and paste your reply.
Yeah, this is what actually I am doing. I have all the questions.
Good.
All the answers for the questions.
Yes.
Copy paste.
Yeah. I honestly promise you, I was solo in my coaching business for 4 years, and now I have 4 staff that all work between sort of 20 and 25 hours a week, and I thought no one can do what I do. I now have another coach working with me, and she's killing it. I've got Sim who does like all my marketing, all my slides and things. I was like, here's all the things I want on them, and then she just does them for me. Like, I promise you, it's your own fear of relinquishing control because you're a crazy, yeah. And I promise you, like, of course there's teething things that come up, but I have someone who does all my payments. I don't even talk to her. She just messages me like, hey, this payment failed, but I got it sorted. I'm like, great, you can do it.
Yeah.
But I think starting with that is like, if you write your own replies and then they just have them saved on their work phone or whatever, and then it's like, if you're not sure, ask me a question. They might come back to you and be like, hey, the client's asked this, and you're like, I've never thought of that. Now I'll create that system around that. Does that make sense? I think you can do it. I think you're really scared. I reckon you can do it for sure. Did that answer your question? Yeah. It's just, it's your baby and it's your business, and you hold on to it and you care about it so much, and you care about your people. But girl, if you're on your phone 24/7 and missing out on your marriage, I think that's a pretty important thing. Awesome. So the next one is the client experience. Obviously, I don't need to talk too much about this because we spent a lot of time on it this morning, but the most important thing with your client experience is to be consistent. We all have off days, we all have off weeks, we all get complacent, and if you feel yourself lagging, refresh yourself by just revisiting your client experience process or coming to the hustle or, you know, whatever, but I don't feel there's too much more to extend on that than what we said earlier. Bookings and cancellations, how we do this has changed a lot in the last few years. And I think if you're not charging a booking fee in 2025, you're crazy. Even going to restaurants now, you've often got to pay up front or leave your credit card or whatever it is anyway. But in my opinion, booking fees or deposits over cancellation fees any day of the week, I would rather than pay up front rather than chasing someone if they don't show up or they cancel last minute. Have your Salon policy on bookings and cancellations listed everywhere. This is really, really important. It should be in your confirmation text. It should be on your website. It should be on your social media, everywhere. So there's no misconstruing it anywhere. In my opinion, $100 minimum should be the cost of their deposit or the cost of the booking. If you have a $50 service, they should pay the whole lot up front. My barbershop was pay up front for everything, and it worked really, really well. And you wouldn't think that you know, our predominantly male clients would do that, but they did. Whenever they booked online, paid up front. So the reason I say $100 is because $100 stings. I'd probably walk away from $50, but I wouldn't walk away from 100. And also, in terms of knowing your labour costs that we worked out back in our pricing, it's really important that, you know, it's enough to cover at least the cost of your time there if that client doesn't come in. Next, no deposit, no booking. This is a really tough one. It's really scary at the start, but it's really important. If your clients value you, they'll pay for your time. And obviously, just on that $100 minimum, always do more for higher time or higher product cost bookings, especially with extensions. I'd be taking full payment up front for the extensions themselves. Obviously, if someone walks away, you've got these extensions you can't use. Yeah. And same, obviously, if you're doing these really expensive services, you need to be covering your time for that time. So for me, new clients, clients who book online, or naughty clients who've no-showed on me 100 times before, pay their deposit at the time of booking. And again, no deposit, no booking. For us, existing clients with a good history, we contact 1 week out from their booking. So for today, I'd be contacting next Wednesday's clients and be like, hey girl, your, or boy, or whatever, your deposit's due for your appointment next week. If you could just transfer that through to me or click this link and pay, or however you want to get the payment is fine. What you will find is by contacting them a week out, if they need to change their appointment, they're probably going to do it then. They'll be like, oh, actually, I do need to change that. So they're not doing it 2 days before or 1 day before. The other thing you'll find is that if they don't pay it, you can cancel that booking and then you can refill that spot. I cancel them if they don't pay. I'm like, nope, not wasting my time. So try this, try contacting them 1 week out from their booking and getting their booking fee. It works really, really, really well. And for me, if your notice period's 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever, if your client does meet your notification time frame for rescheduling, I do always move their deposit or I do always refund their deposit. I think that they're being fair and they've done the right thing. In terms of sickness, this question always comes up. Use your discretion. If it's someone who's always fucking sick, I would be pretty cluey that maybe they're not actually sick, they're just being a pain in the ass. If it's someone who is like, oh my God, I'm so sick, and they sounded like I did a week and a half ago, obviously you would probably just let it go, but you can use your discretion. You can still follow through and charge someone if they're sick if you want to. Doesn't worry me. And just to note here too, anyone who pushes back on you in terms of paying a deposit or a booking fee doesn't respect you. You run a business, you don't run a charity, you don't owe anyone anything, and this is very, very standard practice in 2025. Clients who care about you and clients who have a plan of showing up are not going to worry about paying half of their appointment or a bit of their appointment in advance. And last minute cancellations are damaging, costly, fucking annoying, and really, really completely avoidable if you have the right policy and the right system in place. And really, more than anything, respect yourself enough to enforce your boundaries, okay? You don't owe anyone anything, and you do have to grow a bit of a spine in business, as you guys know, but that might be like, look, if you're not willing to pay your booking fee, hate to break it to you, but I'm not going to make your booking. For me also, skill math. My clients pay half in advance and then they come back the next week and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot I paid that deposit, that's great. So try and always put a positive spin on it too. But you are important, your time is important, and your client should not be taking advantage of you and taking advantage of your time. So the next one we did also discuss a little bit already, so I won't spend too much time on this one, is actually feedback and the feedback loop. So the first thing is to get on top of feedback before it gets on top of you. And that's, like I said, messaging 2-3 days later to ask. You can do it automated if you're extremely time poor, that's absolutely fine. Personally, I think it's really nice if it's a little bit of a personalized message, but you could also make automated ones look personalized, which is fine. Learn to love lower star ratings. This might seem a bit weird or trivial or controversial to some of you, but in terms of low star ratings, I'm completely comfortable with a 4-star rating. I think it's unnatural for everybody to have 5-star, 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 5-star. If you get a 4-star, I always reply and be like, hey, can you let me know like how I could turn that 4-star into a 5-star? And also anything lower than that, a 3, a 2, a 1, obviously it's like, it really hurts and it's horrible and you just feel sick about it. But I think with those two, it's an opportunity to respond in a really kind way and show how professional you can be. And I think I'm a person who I do read reviews sometimes, and like I can see when someone salty has just left a 1-star review and they're just being dramatic and emotional. And if the seller replies back and they're emotional, I'm like, ooh. But if they write back and they're really polite and nice, I'm like, I don't really care. You know, the 1-star doesn't bother me. So just learn to love them. Obviously it is painful and sometimes they're dodgy, but you know, you can do a lot with them. Also, stop forgetting about your existing clients. Feedbacks for existing clients too. Like I said to you, if you're not staying on top of your existing people, you know, they might you know, have a bad experience. They might want to talk to you about something, but if you're not prompting them with this message, then, you know, they might not ever come forward with it and they might just leave and you'll never, ever, ever know why. And always utilizing the feedback you get and actually doing something with it. So if you get negative feedback, ask for more information, ask them to be more descriptive, ask if it's something you can fix for them and then change it. We once had a client give us a 4-star review because she was like, oh, no one offered me a herbal tea and I just would have really loved a tea rather than a coffee. And I was like, oh my God, why don't we have herbal tea? So I got herbal tea and then the next time she came in, she changed it to a 5-star. So, you know, it can be really trivial things too. It's not always this big doom and gloom, you know, this person snapped my hair off. Another free ebook, just do's and don'ts of salon booking policies, if you want that one. You can get the whole library in one thing too. Yeah, but there's like 15 or 10 or something like that, but yeah, you can get them all at once if you want to. Any questions? No? Perfect. None on there? No. Great. Last section for today. I feel like we're timing really well for our 2-hour talk today. Yeah, 11:30. Awesome. So we call this Head Game Strong, which is all about your mindset. I think we talk so much about, you know, taking care of our clients and taking care of our business and taking care of everybody else that we can sometimes, you know, forget to take care of ourselves. So the first and foremost thing about mindset in business and in life as well is to give yourself permission to be number one. It's not selfish, it's not narcissistic, it's not anything like that. You can give yourself permission to be number one and you absolutely always should. And I know this is that like cliche saying, but you need to fit your own oxygen mask first. If you're an absolute blob, you're never going to perform for your clients, you're never going to perform for your family, you're never going to be 100% for them. So if you can get yourself to 100%, you've got more to give and you've got more energy and you can, you know, do what you need to be doing. The next one that I learned is if you don't take care of your wellness, you'll have to take care of your sickness. I actually had burnout last year. I was diagnosed with burnout. I had to go on antidepressants and everything. I had to take 2 months off work because I burnt the candle at both ends. Phone's ringing. It's not my laptop, sorry guys. Yeah, so I had the worst burnout of all time, and yeah, I had to take 2 months off work and it was horrible, and I was very lucky that I had a team to support me, but it's because last year I flew 53 times and did too much education and did too much and just didn't stop working and it was awful. So please, please, please take care of your wellness. Can you please tell her phone's ringing? Thank you. Just wait for it to go away. I don't know if you can hear when it does that or anything. So anyways, a healthy mind starts with a healthy body. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you've got to pump weights for 4 hours a day because that's not realistic. And I'm also not telling you have to take up running because fuck running, that's the worst thing on the planet. But if you like a slow movement, slow pace, go for a walk. If you like Pilates, do Pilates. If you like just getting out in the forest or going for a swim or jumping in the beach water, go and do that. You know, there's so many ways that you can take care of your body that don't involve being an absolute gym bro. It's not my style either. I get moving a couple of days a week, but I'm not there every day, all day. And the other thing is just being considerate of the food that we put in our bodies. I've been in a hotel for the last 5 nights. I'm dying to get home and have a home cooked meal. But, you know, just being more conscious of consuming more water and being a bit healthier and taking care of ourselves from that perspective as well. The next one I wanted to talk about was getting to know yourself on a deeper level. About 4 years ago, I was very sick. And I spent a lot of time really getting to know myself genetically and everything else. We're also going through IVF, so we've done every sort of health friggin' test under the sun. But what I learned about myself is I have the MTHFR gene, and if you don't know what that is, I have a double mutation. It basically means I process everything differently to everyone else, so alcohol, food, toxins, medicines, all sorts of things. So basically I'm resistant to pretty much everything. It's an indicator of mental health and like ADHD, stomach issues, fertility issues, all these things. And like all of a sudden when I learnt this, everything came to light. I also learned that I am not a morning person, so the 5 a.m. club can go in the bin. That is not me. My husband's a really chirpy, up at 5 o'clock, straight to the gym, take the dog for a walk all before I'm out of bed. If you're not a morning person, don't be a morning person, be a slow morning person. If you're an afternoon person like I am, you might want to book your training in for the afternoon or anything lively that you have to do, or even your social engagements in the afternoon, because that's when you're, you know, at your highest level of energy. So don't be afraid to get to know yourself on a deeper level. It's really insightful, and you can then build your business and build your life around your needs. I think we live in the most incredible time. Thank you. I think we live in the most incredible time where it's 2025. If you don't want to work Saturdays, don't work Saturdays. Don't want to work nights, don't work nights. If you want to work 5 a.m., work at 5 a.m. We can literally build our entire business around our needs rather than always being around our clients. Obviously within reason, you don't want to work, you know, at midnight if your clients aren't going to come in then, but it means we've got the best time to be quite flexible and do whatever we want. Captain Obvious, but do less of what drains you and more of what drives you. If you don't like doing certain things, don't do them, outsource them. And if you do like doing certain things, or there's certain people or certain places that energize you, do more of that. You know, if you need an annual holiday, make sure you book an annual holiday. The next one I want to talk about is your network defines your net worth. And this is a really important one. I'm not saying you need to go and cut off everybody who doesn't align with you 100%, but you become what you spend the most time with. You know, if you spend, you know, all your days around drug addicts, you'll probably become a drug addict. If you spend all your time around smokers, you'll probably become a smoker. The same goes for people who are, you know, just lazy and lumpy and don't do anything. Doesn't mean you have to hang out with 5 awesome hairdressers. It means you can hang out with 5 people who are passionate about their families and their life and what they do. Or, you know, maybe they're people that earn way more than you and you want to be like them, so you go and spend more time with people like that. But just be considerate of who you invest your time with. And again, if you've got draining people, less time with them. And the last thing on this is choosing discipline over motivation. Like I said, hate going to the gym, not afraid to admit it, think it's awful. I know Sim doesn't love working out either. So it's like, find the thing that makes you happy and choose to do that, choose to be motivated. If you sit around waiting for motivation all day, it's never gonna come. So you've just gotta choose to do the hard, painful, horrible thing if it's getting you closer to where you need to be. I need a little clicker. The next part of mindset in business is to stop letting your clients manipulate you. This is happening more and more and more, and I feel that this stems from financial strain. Financial stress and financial strain can make people literally go crazy, and I know that because I was one of those crazy people that was in financial stress and strain. You know, it's difficult and it's horrible, and it makes you kind of catastrophize and spiral, I guess. But in terms of your actual service and things, your clients' financial problems are not your problems. There's a lot of people that are quite comfortable booking your luxury business and your luxury services, but knowing that you don't eat at night because they aren't willing to pay you. They're prioritizing their needs, they're not prioritizing yours. So please don't let people's financial problems affect you. They choose to come to you. They know what you cost. The next thing on that is kind of the opposite to that is stop assuming that people can't afford you. I had one of my favorite clients was Jess. Jess dressed like a 15-year-old boy, board shorts, big baggy t-shirt, could have passed for a homeless person, would not have hesitation about spending any money on me, was 4 weekly Saturday morning, absolutely loved the girl. She was one of my favorite clients. You would look at her and assume that she couldn't afford you if you were judging her, but it was absolutely not true. So don't always assume that people can't afford you, or maybe you might be like, oh, I wouldn't spend that much on myself. That's your own insecurity. So then you assume that people can't. It's not true. So we've got to stop judging, either way here. And also, just because your client asks for a discount doesn't mean that they are actually entitled to one. Discounting is not something that you have to give people. Discounting is not something that people are just entitled to because they ask. Discounting shouldn't happen at all, in my opinion. If you want to run a sale or something like we are end of financial year, go ahead, but there should be another goal around that instead. One of my favorite things to let people know and remind people is that your services are not just about the 45 minutes or the hour or the 30 minutes. I have been in this industry, like I said, for 22 years now. I bring a wealth of experience to my appointment times. It's not just about 60 minutes of me billing out at, $28 an hour, because that's what people in my industry earn, or minimally. I charge $397 an hour because I bring a wealth of experience. And it's the same as you guys. You didn't just wake up one day and know how to do your teeth whitening services. You didn't just wake up one day and know how to do a facial. It took years and years of training, and you learn from people who also had years and years of training. So you're bringing their wealth of experience to that too. So yeah, there's this thing about, oh God, I don't earn that when in my 45 minutes at work. It's like, because you go to work and you're employed and you don't bring anything to the table. I invest in things like this, invest in training, invest in products, investing in all these other things. So it's not just about the 45 minutes. And I also like to highlight this, and this is my opinion absolutely of indies as well. If you earn less than $100 a year, go and get a job. It's not worth it being in business, in my opinion. You really, really have to make a lucrative business out of your business. And you guys are all deserving of that. You work so hard. You wear all the hats. You do all the things. You have to earn a good, generous six-figure wage, and you absolutely deserve to as well.
Do you mean that is the total income of the business, or do you
Profit.
mean like the,
I reckon profit.
Oh, yeah.
I would,
on the wage you pay yourself, or?
Yeah, so I just think, so the wage you pay yourself or you're profiting, I just think, like, honestly, an average hairdresser now I know would earn probably a salary package of 80 to 85,000 with super and everything like that. I'm like, I would not put myself through the stress and the pressure of working for myself when I could literally walk into a job and be like, I want to work 9 to 3, 5 days a week and earn that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Because we know it's not just about the actual coming to work and the doing the clients. For me, it's about like the everything else that goes along with it. It's like, I know when I go home tonight, I've got two consults. When I go home tonight, I've got 7 tomorrow. Like, I'm just like, whew, it's busy, but I know that's going to be lucrative for me, so I know that it's fine. Like, I would never take the pressure of being in the hair and beauty and, whatever cosmetic industry and not be paying myself a good 6-figure wage. Absolutely not. Yeah, I would want to be clearing $2,000 a week for sure. Yeah, and it's so possible. I think that's the other thing. A lot of people think that it's not possible. My barbers back in, when did I sell? 2021 were earning $4,000 to $5,000 a week for my business as barbers, right? Charging $50. And my hairdressers were earning $6,000 to $7,000 a week for my business back then. Obviously, they get paid a wage out of that, but indies think it's not possible sometimes to earn more than $3,000 or $4,000. There's a fundamental issue. Your pricing's not right, you're charging right, you're spending too much time on services, there's a whole heap of things. And out of that, if you're earning, 3 to 4, you probably should be taking half of that. Yeah, if you're earning 5 to 6, you probably should be taking even more than that. So it's totally possible. We have one of our indies is down in Wollongong, and she earns $12,000 a week in her business revenue, and she takes about 6 to 7 out of that in her pocket. She's killing it. She's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, it's possible. I just like to let people know that it's possible. We watch it happen all the time. It's awesome. But business has to be lucrative, otherwise why the fuck would you do it? It's so hard. It's just, so many people are just not cut out for it, hey? So, with mindset 2, I find that the best thing is to start with the end in mind. It might be the $100,000 wage, might be saving goal, something like that. always start with the end in mind. I don't believe in material goals. I think you can have anything you want. If you want a Louis bag, that's fine. If you want a holiday, that's fine. If you want to live on the beach, that's fine. If you just want to earn enough to send your kids to private school, that's fine for me. Whatever your goal is absolutely fine. I also just know for you guys, especially in Sydney, if you're not earning $2,000 a week, you'd be battling. Like your rent and everything is bloody phenomenal around here. It's the same up my end. We've just finished renovating an apartment that we've lived in for the last 3.5 years, and we've now moved into a house, and you know the rent on that is $900 a week. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. I know you guys are pretty similar to that, probably more than. So you know, when you're considering that, you know, almost half of a $2,000 wage would be rent, you've got to find ways of making it bigger and making it better, and that's why you all do what you do. But always start with the end in mind. So set your goal. Whatever you want is absolutely fine with me, and you should be. I would support you in that no matter what. Might be working 2 days a week. I'm also okay with that too. If that's what you want to do. The next thing I want to explain is toward versus away from modality. So I'm an NLP master, and this is an NLP technique. It's a really funny one. So if you're going towards something, you're going towards your vision or goal. So your goal might be, I want to earn 100K a year. That's what I want to do. Everything I do is going to be focused on earning that 100K a year. Versus away from, it might be like, I want to get away from this dead-end job. I want to get away from all my clients. And you kind of are directionless, and you're kind of going everywhere because you're just trying to get away from the situation that you're in. Does that make sense? So opposed to being like this and going like a beacon guiding your efforts, you kind of just like, run away. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get away. So it's kind of really clear direction, really blurred direction. It can like blur your goals, whatever that is. The next one is to reverse engineer goals. So let's use the 100K a year money goal as an example, because I feel like that kind of stuck out for you guys. So if you need to be earning $100,000 a year, that seems like a lot. When you break it down over 52 weeks, it's actually less than $2,000 a week. All of a sudden, that's not so scary. And then if you do that over a day, it's $400 a day that you've got a profit, right? If you're doing a 5-day work week. Obviously, you'll have holidays in there. Yes, you'll have to pay taxes and super and everything else. So you might want to add that into your goal. There's this website called paycalculator.com.au. And if you go to that and you're like, okay, cool. So this week, for example, I'm taking out $1,700. It'll be like, this is how much tax you pay, this is how much super you pay, and you can put it away. Then you don't get to the end of the year and then you're like, yeah.
And then the tax take away.
Yep. I know, it's horrible. I know, it's horrible. And look, I've done the same thing this year because we've been building a house while renovating. It's been absolute hell, but I've done the same thing. I just know I'm about to get a stonker of a tax bill. But yeah, if you're just someone who does draw out of your business opposed to paying the same amount every week, use that pay calculator. It's really cool. It's just, it'll be like, yeah, put away this much tax, this much super, and then you just know you've got to put that across, you know.
What's the website called?
Pay calculator.
Pay calculator.
Yeah, .com or .com.au. I think it's .com.au, I think. It's really good. I always tell that to my people who are sole traders and stuff that just draw. It does make it really easy. The next one is, so reverse engineering your goals. For you guys being business owners too. So we got to that $2,000 a week, $400 a day. How can I make an extra $400 a day? That might be retailing. That might be putting everyone's price up $100. That might be all of these other things. Therefore, it's not actually that hard to then achieve that goal, right? But yeah, obviously include tax in that when you reverse engineer it. I just can't do that in my head right now while I'm up here. Financial freedom is possible for everybody. We watch it happen all day, every day. We meet people who have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, businesses that are going backwards, massive staff and like all these things going on. And then, a year, 18 months later, things look completely different and they're on a completely different trajectory and they're achieving their goals and they're, doing all the things that they need to do. So financial freedom is absolutely possible for absolutely everybody. Again, just want to highlight discipline over motivation. There's heaps of shit I hate doing, but I have to do it anyway. I actually hate getting on stage and speaking in front of people. Believe it or not, it's one of the scariest things in the world to me, but I do it anyway because I get to meet beautiful people like you and I get opportunities like this and I get to, explore Salon Lane and everything else. So, sometimes you've got to choose to do the difficult, hard, painful, horrible, scary thing. You will always come out the other side. The other thing with that is success is a choice. A lot of people hate when I say this, but I firmly believe it in my heart of hearts that if you're choosing to undercharge, if you're choosing to not charge properly, if you're choosing to undercut yourself, downsell yourself, discount your clients, that's a choice. You make a choice. Obviously, there are horrible, inevitable, awful things that happen, in life. But for the most part, unless you have something really extreme happen, success is absolutely a choice. And with that, growth comes from being in really uncomfortable situations. So my girl Bridget, who's one of my coaches, started with me in April, something. I made her get on the hair festival stage with me on Sunday, and she shit herself, but it was the best, and she will become better at her job for that. And every time she does it, it will become easier. And last but not least is you're in the driver's seat. This is your journey, this is your decision, this is your life, and your everything that you get to do. So yeah, it's a choice. So we have an indie coaching program. It's an ongoing program, not lock-in. It's awesome. It's full of all indie babes in the hair and beauty industry. It's on sale for half price at the moment. If you want to jump in, you don't have to. But yeah, it's awesome. There's a brochure in there, and I'm really sorry that the QR code doesn't work. But that QR code works. But if you are interested in having a chat or whatever, let me know and we can have a bit of a chat about it.